classic introduction.
Classic introduction.
Hey fam, just
Sup fam?
Kylie from Haunted Hippie back at you with another vlog.
Your maggot mommy. Sup my little stinkies. This would be the first time that I'd be doing a boyfriend reveal. Wow. On the channel. I have posted you one time on my horror Instagram.
Oh yeah, well you did the Disneyland post.
Oh, that one too. Okay, so yeah, because then I also posted you on my story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that much of a reveal, but you've never been on the channel before, and a good amount of my audience does not follow me on Instagram. Like, less than a fifth of my audience follows me on Instagram.
They asked about your dating life yesterday in the Q&A.
They did. They asked, like, when you graduated from being my partner to being my boyfriend, and I explained that was just kind of a privacy thing before. So I was like, we'd only been dating for a few months, and I was like, they don't need to know if I'm dating like a boy, girl, whatever. Like, that's what I felt like calling you.
When did you tell me your partner? Like on the channel?
I don't know, like whenever we decided to be boyfriend, girlfriend. So I was like, you'll never believe this guy that followed me in the grocery store parking lot. Should I do it?
I don't know what I would do.
Is it time to show you off?
Well, am I supposed to talk?
Well, I mean, you're probably gonna have to talk at some point today. We're talking right now. I might not cut this out. This might be...
Oh, it's being recorded.
Ready, everybody? 3, 2... I'm not doing it like that. Okay, there he is. Look how handsome. Look how cute. There he is. He's driving us to Disneyland today. So yeah, we're on our way. That was the introduction.
Hello, everyone. Little maggots.
Yes. He is, he's the second in command to, your unholy ruler. Oh yeah, oh wait, okay, it hasn't been like a normal intro. So, welcome to the Cult of Haunted Hippie. If you're new here, yes, I run my own online virtual cult. Typically the audio and video quality is a lot better than this, I promise. But we're vlogging today, which is not normal. I don't vlog a lot. But we're going to Disney today. And so I thought that it'd be a good time to vlog that because it is spooky season at Disney, and I haven't been at Disney at spooky season maybe since like I was a kid. I don't remember. Last time I was there was summer of 2019, so I'm stoked. I have my the craft shirt on today, and life is good. Falcon in person for the first time.
Yeah, baby.
It's raining also. It's pouring right now. How is it though? How are you feeling?
I'm so pumped up. I've been waiting for this moment for 5 or 6 years because I love Star Wars. And I love Disney.
So we're gonna go do the ride right now.
Smuggler's Run.
Smuggler's Run. We did Smuggler's Run, then we did Rise of the Resistance. So, the ultimate Star Wars fan here. Your thoughts?
First of all, Star Wars Land is fantastic. Got a lot of exploring to do later in the day. That first one, Smuggler's Run, I got a little dizzy, I'll admit.
We piloted and
We were
didn't do
pilots.
great.
I was not a good pilot. It was a lot of fun. Rise of the Resistance or Revenge of the Resistance. We just did that. I just said to Kylie, it was the best ride I've ever been on, considering how much I love Star Wars.
In
I
his
felt like we
entire
were part
life.
of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane.
It was
insane.
fantastic. If you haven't
Yeah.
done it, do it.
Do it. Come
May
here,
the
do it.
Force be with you.
Really into it now. Now we're gonna head over to Club 33. Cannot film in there. Strictly forbidden. So catch up with you after. Disney now, and we're gonna ride the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. We did not get to do Guardians of the Galaxy today, unfortunately.
Boo!
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 Boo! So it's the best ride. So
We're having a great time.
We're having a great time. Also, I am determined to get a churro. So I'm hoping we can have a break and kind of update you guys once I get my churro.
Yeah, and I also want to say there's a lot of people here dressed up for Halloween, which is really cool.
Really
We've seen
fun.
some awesome outfits.
We have. Good job, everyone.
You got me on yo ho ho, yo ho yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
We got back to the car and it won't start. The battery is dead. We've had such a rough day. Indiana Jones never opened. Guardians of the Galaxy never opened. So we didn't get to do two of the best rides. And now the car won't start. He's calling AAA and hopefully we'll be rescued soon. Wow. He brought us water. So nice. Happy ending. Oh, hello everybody. It is the next day. You probably already saw me looking like this in my September recap. That is because I am shooting this on the same day. I just needed to check in and give you a quick little recap of the day at Disneyland because we weren't able to check in with you that much while we were there. For one thing, a lot of the times whenever we would sit down somewhere for a little rest, when I could fill you guys in, there would be music playing, like, you know, on the Avengers campus, there'd be the Avengers music. Near the Haunted Mansion, they'd be playing playing the Nightmare Before Christmas music. So if I tried to speak when we were taking those little pauses when we were in those areas, I would have gotten a copyright claim for that music. So I wasn't able to really check in with you guys much there. So I'm just going to kind of quickly run through the day. Yes, I am a little bit run down today. I just finished shooting a video, but I did sleep for at least 9 hours last night, a little bit more. So I'm good. I'm doing all right. Quick run through earlier in the day, just because you already saw that, and then I'll fill you in on what happened later in the night. The first thing we did was jet over to Toontown, and the Roger Rabbit ride was only 5 minutes long, and so we just went and did that really quickly. And then we went over and we did Mickey's Runaway Railroad, or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. Kind of a tongue twister, but anyways, that's a brand new ride at the park, and it is fantastic. The animatronics of that ride are somehow also screens. It's crazy. It feels a lot more immersive. The visuals are just a lot more stunning, and it's also just a bigger ride than your standard fare of the other Fantasyland rides like Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan. We also didn't get to do a single one of those. I'm so sad to report, but more on that later. That's a great ride. I highly recommend it. It is one of, I think, only 2 of their new trackless rides in the park, which I think that I actually prefer to the track rides. But anyway, then when it started dumping rain, we took my dad over to see Star Wars Land, and you already know he had a blast there. Rise of the Resistance, like he said, is probably the best overall ride that I've ever been on. Now, I'm more of a roller coaster person myself, so I would say that probably my favorite ride of all time is maybe something like Colossus over at Six Flags. But if we're talking just overall production value and design of a ride and the overall experience, Rise of the Rebellion is in fact probably the best ride that's ever existed anywhere. Although I do know that in Orlando and Florida, it's probably a lot better. They just have so much more space out there to build for the park and everything. I've just never been there. Someday though, my dad still promises to take me there. It was really nice. We got to kind of bust out those first few rides because, well, for one thing, we had to do the Mickey one early on because you cannot use fast passes for that ride. One of my dad's very best friends of all time is a member of Club 33, so they met us there with their daughter and they gave us a bunch of fast passes for all the rides, but can't use it on Mickey's. We did use them for both Smuggler's Run and Rise of the Rebellion, and highly recommend that because those lines get out of control. So we were able to kind of bust that out, but we did manage to get some quick pictures. My dad was just over the moon being the Millennium Falcon, and he got to be a pilot because there are, I think, 3 different roles that you can have because it's a really interactive ride. In Smuggler's Run, you can be either a gunner, an engineer, or a pilot, and so we let my dad be a pilot, and he was sitting up front, and I was also piloting. I just remember him saying, I think he was like, I have wanted to drive this ship since 1977. He wasn't messing around. He also had always wanted to go into the bar from the original movie since that time, but what we didn't know is that that is not the bar that they made at Disneyland. They made a different one, but more on that later. So after we did those rides, we met up with our friends in Club 33, and Mickey and Minnie came over in their spooky attire. Now they're in their spooky clothes to take pictures in the club, so it's nice. They stay there for like an hour, and then all the club members don't have to like wait in line to take pictures with them. So that was fun. That was cute. Took a few pictures with Mickey and Minnie, and actually like my inner child reawakened, and I got a little bit emotional because as soon as I stepped up to them, you know, I'm not into taking pictures with the cast members now. When I see them around the park, I don't try to take pictures, but for some reason Scott walked up to Mickey and I walked up to Minnie, and she, you know, did the little excited thing. She's acting, but she held out her arms to me and like wanted a hug, and so I hugged her, and I like almost started crying. I don't know if she just like knew that I needed that or something. That was crazy, but the pictures turned out cute. I also just cry all the time. Everything makes me cry. I'm starting to tear up right now, but I'm trying to not like let them spill. We're over it. We're moving past it. Took some pictures on the little spiral staircase that's like right inside the club in the little courtyard. And then we went over to California Adventure, so took a few pictures in front of that too. We thought we had a good game plan going over to Soarin' Over the World, so we used our fast passes for that. Got really bad seats, unfortunately, but whatever. And then we thought, oh, this is great. Then we'll go right over to the Avengers campus and do all of the Avengers related rides. Well, we didn't get to do a single one of them because Guardians of the Galaxy, which is the best ride over there, and maybe the best ride in the park besides Rise of the Rebellion, it was closed. They were having technical issues with it and stuff, and so that was such a letdown. I haven't been on that ride like since it opened in 2018, and so I was dying to go on it and for my dad and for Scott to experience it, but you know, we're not the main characters. It can't always happen the way we want it to. So then we ended up going and waiting in line for the Incredicoaster, which turned out to be kind of pointless because by the end of the day, we still had more fast passes that we didn't even get to use. But part of the reason is because we didn't get to go on Guardians and we didn't end up wanting to waste them on the Web Slingers thing, the Spider-Man ride, because that one, as I understand it, is like a screen where you shoot at it, and we were like, let's not waste it on that. We want to do real rides. The Incredicoaster was good, but I think that the audio was not working or something, because usually there's kind of a little story going on where the whole family is trying to capture Jack, but he's using all his powers and just getting into a whole bunch of mess. So that wasn't happening. So that was confusing. It was basically just the regular old California Screamin'. So weird day, weird times in Disney California Adventure, because it also closed at 6 p.m. because they're doing this special Oogie Boogie event where people can trick or treat in the park. So we also saw a lot of people in costume, and I wish that I could have just been recording people, but that would have been weird. Maybe you got to see some of them in the background of the videos that I was taking, but I tried to be really, really conscious about not recording strangers. I do not want to be one of those influencers in the wild, you know what I mean? But people looked great. So many people were dressed up in Haunted Mansion stuff and had gone all out, like painted their whole body. I saw this one woman that had essentially like a fishbowl over her head and this makeshift table around her shoulders and a tablecloth that kind of looked like a shawl. So she was Madam What's-Her-Face from Haunted Mansion. It was very cool. Saw a lot of Sallys from Nightmare Before Christmas. Just a lot of Disney adults out in the wild doing their thing. Actually, no, not out in the wild. They were in their natural habitat, having enrichment time in their enclosure. So that was just kind of a bummer, because if Guardians ended up being up and running later on in the day, the park was not open until 10 like it usually was. It closed at 6. So we had to head back over to Disney, and we hadn't done Haunted Mansion when I thought we were going to, because, you know, everyone was flocking back over to Disney that wasn't taking part in this trick-or-treating event. And so even the Lightning Pass line for Haunted Mansion went like down the whole block, like all the way to the old Splash Mountain area. So even with a Lightning Pass, that line would have been like 40 minutes long. Obviously, you saw we eventually did do it, but at that time we were like, okay, fuck this. Indiana Jones was also closed, and that was one of the only other rides we really wanted to do. So, you know, we did wait in line. We did Pirates because you can't use fast passes for that one. And then we went over to the bar, which ended up kind of being a disappointment too. I feel so bad for my dad because he's been waiting to have that experience since, you know, the 70s. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, it's the jazz club from Tatooine, right? That's where they are in the original movie. But it wasn't that at all. So you saw the videos of the little DJ they had, of the bar. It was still cool. But at the end of the day, I do think that it was just kind of plopped there to be a place where people could drink in Disneyland. Because before that, you could only drink in California Adventure in the other park. So yeah, that was disappointing, but the drinks were very, very tasty. I had one called a Jedi Mind Trick that was like a light blue, and other people ordered other drinks that looked really pretty as well. It was very, very tasty. I would very much like to have one of those again. But then after that, everyone was kind of losing steam. You know, Scott and I got up at 6 a.m. as you saw to go to the park, and at that point, I think it was about 7:40 p.m. as it were. So then we were like, okay, we just want to hit up the 2 classic rides, and then we'll be okay if that's all the rest that we do tonight, and then we head out. So we went over, and the Lightning Pass lane for Haunted Mansion was gone. We were like, let's go, because they were kind of setting up for the parade. The first parade is at 8:45 at nighttime. So I think a lot of people had kind of flocked over that way. So we got right on the Haunted Mansion, and that was incredible. That ended up being my second favorite ride of the day, along with Rise of the Rebellion, because they really went all out for Nightmare Before Christmas. I remember them doing that in years past, but I don't know if I just was too young to remember, but I don't remember them ever going that all out before. I mean, the entire outside of the house was decked out. The entire ride was completely different. I'm talking they replaced entire animatronics, and in some years past, I do remember them doing that, but not to the degree that they did. It was really worth it, because I was almost thinking, well, you know, we were just here in July for the premiere, you know, we already went on the ride, but I'm so glad that we did it. It was so worth it because it was so different. And then after that, we were thinking, okay, end of the day, let's go to Indiana Jones. That'll be our last ride. It's one of the best rides, and it was still closed. Even though on the app, it said that there was a wait time. It looked like it was back up and running. It did not say it was closed on the wait time app. It was closed. So ended the night on a little bit of a sour note. Was a little bit disappointed because usually when we have the fast passes and stuff, we have the time to do all of our favorite rides plus a few bonus ones here and there. Like I really wanted to go do Alice in Wonderland and maybe Peter Pan. Space Mountain was closed all day too, which that was a super disappointment. I haven't been on that ride in years. So it was not our best Disney day, though admittedly, when you spend 2 hours in Club 33 for lunch, that eats away at a little bit of your time in the park. I don't mind doing that though, because you get to take a long break in comfy chairs, and that 2 hours is time that you would have spent in line anyways, but because our friends give us these passes, we get to spend that time sitting down eating good food instead. So yeah, that ate away at our time a little bit, but we usually do that when we go to Disney, and it was just so weird. It felt like we got nothing done. But you saw the vlog. Obviously, it was a great day. Like, I've got nothing to complain about. We got to do Rise of the Resistance, or is it Rise of the Rebellion? Have I been saying that wrong the whole time? I don't actually know. We got to eat dinner in the Star Wars themed restaurant, and that was very immersive. I had some Impossible Meat meatballs with like some naan, and there was some hummus and cucumbers and tomatoes. Delicious. There was a lot of special stuff that we got to do. I have nothing to complain about. It was a wonderful day. I think by the end of it, we were just feeling really run down and discouraged that some of the best rides were closed all day long, and that, you know, none of us had been to Disneyland in like the last 5 years. We were there for the premiere, but we didn't get to hang around in the park very much. Plus, we had a few drinks, so we were a little bit sleepy, a little bit cranky. And then the car wouldn't start when Scott and I needed to make like an hour and 10-minute drive to get back home from Anaheim. That was just the cherry on top of the cake. But AAA, they told us on the phone, they were like, yeah, it's probably gonna be 30 to 40 minutes before we can get somebody out there, but we'll get them out there as soon as we can. So that's when I was starting to feel like, oh my God. And then we have to drive over an hour home. That's so bad. But they ended up coming in like 20 minutes. And then, you know, Scott was hungry. We got him some street tacos. Those were pretty good. I had a bite. It was a really quick drive home with no traffic, obviously late at night. So it was fine. And I was literally in bed a few minutes before midnight and had a little bit of time to read the first chapter of that book before I fell asleep. Then I slept for 9.5 hours. So nothing to complain about. Great day, great life. I guess the moral of this story, and the reason why I kind of wanted to summarize everything for you, is just that if you're the type of person that maybe you're not from California, you want to take your family to Disney, but it's super expensive, you got to strategize, I'm just here to help you with that. The park is not worth doing in only one day if you do not have fast passes. We are very, very lucky that we have people that not only can give us those passes, but can get us into the park for free. So for us, not a total loss. Like, we just got to pay for the gas to get there, and then they treat us. But obviously, majority of people in that park don't have that luxury. So if you're gonna do it, just do it right. Save up for the fast passes, because if you're a family of 5 and it's gonna cost you $1,000 for one day for all of you to get the park hopper passes, you're gonna need to shell out for the fast passes too. It's just simply not worth it otherwise. We had the fast passes, and granted, yes, you know, 3 of the best rides, they were closed. Nothing you can do about that. But again, that's something you have to consider. That happens all the time in amusement parks. Sometimes some of the best rides will be closed, and it doesn't matter that you've been planning this trip for 6 months. So you're gonna have to make do. And even with that, even with some of the best rides being closed, even having the fast passes, we did less than 10 rides in the 12 hours that we were there. Yes, take away the 2 hours in the club, but then add them right back, because if we didn't have the passes, that would have been time spent in line, and even more so. So just, you gotta strategize. You gotta strategize. I wish we had more than one day there, honestly, because it's not like we get to do this very often. And I think that that was also why we were kind of feeling bummed out, just because in years past, you were able to do so much more in the park, and the tickets were so much cheaper. I don't know, I guess maybe in a way we just sort of felt like failures. It's just tough out there these days with amusement parks. You really need to strategize. It's the same thing for horror nights, and I will let you know my strategy and everything. I'll do a recap once I vlog one of those experiences, because it's the same thing. Not worth it without a fast pass, but we'll get into that when that day comes. You probably saw these names scrolling on screen. These are my wonderful patrons. They keep the lights on at Haunted Hippie Studios, and this is not a regular video of mine that I would do, but because it is spooky season, and now I am doing all these fun events and going to theme parks and stuff, I realized that I should share it, because I don't know if there's any other big horror creator that lives in this area that does all this stuff. I'm sure that there are so many other people that have vlogged, you know, spooky time at Disneyland. Like, I'm sure there's thousands of those videos, and I'm sure several of Horror Nights too. But I am a seasoned amusement park person. I've been going to them since literally since I could walk. So I know what I'm doing. I want to share my strategy. I want everyone to have a good time and not waste their money. But anyways, the patrons fund a lot of the content on this channel, and so as a thank you to them, I do post a ton of bonus content over there every single month, usually 4 to 6 videos, plus all of the copyright blocked watch-alongs that no longer can live on YouTube. But if that's not for you, all the rest of my social media is also linked down below. I would especially recommend following me on my horror Instagram. That's where you can stay up to date with me. You get all the day-to-day stuff. What am I working on? Where am I? You know, there's a lot of Horror Nights content on there. But more than anything, I just hope that you enjoyed this different video today and that I catch you in the next one. Bye!